Today's upload for the 15th of May 2020 is with regard to the spiritual perspective and stance with regards to civil liberties and the experiences I'm having of human rights violations and hate crime. As has been stipulated throughout these uploads, in 2006 I commenced my journey on recovery and my work in spiritual studies and spirituality. As I recovered from the incidents of assault and revenge porn, I developed my abilities as a light worker and as a humanitarian and as a peacekeeper. The biggest difficulty for any victims of assault is the aspect of forgiveness and the difficulties associated with not just forgiveness of ourselves but forgiveness of the culprits. So that is the biggest challenge in any recovery process. And as I've mentioned in my uploads, the fellowship has been instrumental in the entire process of recovery for me. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned over and over again in these uploads, I have been violated in very serious, sinister ways. My human rights, my right to career, my right to family, my right to my own home, my right to my health being prioritised, my right to my privacy, my right to my personal information being protected and safeguarded have all been violated. As you've seen throughout the uploads, the medical incompetence that has been occurring has been evident. Fortunately, from my recovery, I've been able to apply my own healing modalities in this process of recovery, yet again, from a different kind of assault. The assault on this occasion is the assault of my human rights, the assault of my spirituality, my individuality, my uniqueness, and basically my entire individuality, identity has all been attacked and assaulted. 2017, I have been contacting all relevant agencies. The obstruction and preventative measures that have been placed in my way as obstacles to prevent me from achieving and enjoying my rights have been incessantly placed in my way, preventing others also from assisting a victim of hate crime. The issue that I have awful exception or take awful exception to is not just the aspect of human rights and constitutional rights being disrespected, but also the very serious wrongdoings that I've experienced without any recompense or without any acknowledgement. And as a professional educator from the University of Limerick and Hibernia College, to be experiencing this misconduct and serious, unprofessional and unethical and immoral treatment is unjustifiable and inexcusable. The issue, not only with regards to human rights, but the issue with regards to my personal spiritual faith that had not in any way, or does not in any way, negatively impact or affect other people, has also been assaulted. There have been people that think they're able to have any role in another person's experience without actually having been involved. There have been people that have tried to control a spiritual experience that they have no right to. There are people that have violated my ancestry and my personal gifts, light and blessings, as I keep mentioning, throughout my experience since 2006 up to the present date. There are people that have scrutinized and criticized my personal life, my professional life, and my privacy, and my personal information without any authority and without any knowledge of the circumstances regarding their insults and their injuries. The audacity of individuals that have jumped on a bandwagon of recent spiritual evolution and recent spiritual attainment while trying to capitalize and monopolize the entire circumstance that they have completely disrespected. A person's private life is private. A person's private living space is private. That's a human right. My personal private thoughts are similarly my private business. My private thoughts are not anyone else's business to be dissecting, scrutinizing, or criticizing. The violations of bodily integrity are another serious issue. For any individual, professional or unprofessional, to violate a human body without the decency, professionalism, courtesy, or integrity to acknowledge the process of which they are pursuing or conducting is the height of disrespect to human rights. Bodily integrity and people's personal thought processes are not in any way for the judgment call of thought police or people that are disturbers of civil liberties. Those perpetrating hate crime and that have concealed their misconduct and their wrongdoings with incessant efforts and persistent efforts to disguise their lies with even worse falsehoods is insulting again to human rights. So this is what I'm contending with. And as I've mentioned, there have been the mental health professionals and false claimants that have on 2 occasions and still to this day violated my right to freedom. The issue of isolation and confinement of an individual in society, restricting a person's right to movement, right to travel, right to a professional career, a right to family, etc., are offences against the Declaration of Human Rights, and that is what I'm contending with. There have been people in this circumstance that caused and commenced this offence and vendetta of human rights violations long ago, back in 2005. To this day, they are still disrespecting the Constitution and the Declaration, and to this day, their ill intentions, their forced agendas are disrespecting not only my human rights, but the human rights of other individuals as well that are the casualties of their wrongdoings. Since 2017, the relevant agencies have been notified, as I've mentioned. They've been obstructed. In the meantime, I've been defamed and I've been damaged with ill health due to medical care that I have not been provided with, which I am entitled to. There has been wealth as well as health damaged. My professional opportunities as a graduate and as a qualified professional have also been damaged. So this is what hate crime is. And from a spiritual perspective, this is a very disturbing situation. And from the perspective of a humanitarian, I find it very upsetting that human rights agencies are not confronting me or this issue adequately, justly, or fairly. So the defamation of a person's character, reputation, and good name that is being damaged in the midst of a vendetta of hate crime is very, very sinister, especially when it is with regard to a person that has not in any way been offensive, disrespectful, or causing any disturbance in society, and that has actually positively contributed to society, and that has helped other people with recovery, has helped other people with education, has helped other people in their journeys of progress and upgrade and elevation. So these are all the matters that are constantly occurring, and I am at my wit's end at this stage, suffering from medical incompetence and experiencing intrusions from unprofessional professionals violating my privacy, claiming to be authorities about circumstances that they have no role or authority or consent or permission to be a part of. So the issue of imposters imposing in my private life and damaging my human rights, damaging my faith as they think with their vendettas of falsified evolutionary concepts that are basically byproducts and commodities of a person that they have perpetrated spiritual violence against. This is what the UN agencies are to confront. UN agencies are to safeguard everyone's right to freedom. UN agencies are to protect the rights, the legal rights, the spiritual rights, the safety, etc., of all citizens, EU citizens especially. And that isn't happening, and that my rights are being disrespected, and that the assistance that I'm entitled to is being obstructed is a very sad sign of the times. And those people that are jumping on the bandwagon and joyriding on my spiritual progress since 2006, and that have disrespected my gifts, light, and blessings that they have damaged since 2016, 2017, and 2018 and 2019 is absolutely disgraceful and absolutely embarrassing for any society to be facilitating. The worst part about it all is that people that perpetrate hate crime usually have no rationale, and the rationale that they try to justify their wrongdoings and constitutional offences with aren't actually justifiable. So the illegalities and unlawfulness, not only of a person's constitutional and human rights, but the unlawfulness of spiritual violence is not only regrettable, but disappointing for any evolved individuals, any intelligent individuals. So those people that are perpetrating these violations, I would appreciate if the UN agencies would acknowledge how serious the offences actually are. Prospering and making a commodity of another person's spiritual advancement and perpetrating spiritual identity theft, as well as other forms of identity theft, along with financial theft, etc., 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 are more of the offences that I've had to contend with. So this is ongoing. And there are, as I've said, unprofessional professionals that have involved themselves without any legalities or procedural processes actually being formally respected or acknowledged. There are professionals that think that with the defamation of my character, my competencies, my skills, etc., these professionals think that they are in a position to just involve themselves in my personal experience without actually having any position or stance or any previous or former involvement with me. The lies I've had to contend with are not just defamatory, they're dangerous lies that I've had to contend with. And the UN agencies that I've had to contact, I'm still waiting for the support that's required. This offence hasn't just been perpetrated against me. There have been other individuals, other victims, and other casualties. And the very fact that there is a constant effort to distract from the reality of a situation, to distract from the offences that are occurring, just proves how determined and destructive the individuals causing these human rights violations actually are. It was bad enough to be culprits, as they were, of revenge porn over a decade ago, but to be culprits again in a vendetta of hate crime and very serious defamation and very serious spiritual violence is a huge concern. So the human rights agencies that I am being in touch with since these offences occurred, I'd appreciate it if you contact me, please. There are people violating rights to freedom and endangering human life. When a person is unlawfully detained, unlawfully without any cause or reason, are those people, the guilty culprits, safeguarded from the consequences of unprofessional professionals endangering the safety, well-being and rights of citizens that are only concerned with civil liberties, peacekeeping and respect for all human life. So that's my message and upload for today. There is very serious occurrences happening for me. Authorities and politicians and UN agencies, I hope, are aware of how serious the threat to society is when people are unethical, immoral, and inconsiderate of the safety of all citizens. It's not a light topic to be discussing. It's not a laughing matter when innocent lives are endangered with those procuring that which they have not attained themselves on their journeys. It's not a laughing matter to have your health damaged and your wealth damaged also. It's not a laughing matter to have career and professional opportunities damaged as a consequence of people making false complaints, violating privacy, and damaging health and well-being. So that's my upload for today. I've made my submissions to the UN agencies. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have lived peacefully, respectfully, and thoughtfully of other people and other people's recovery and other people's journeys on attainment paths, etc., and professionally also. I wonder, are the politicians cognizant of the fact that this issue is not easily swept under the carpet when there's been so much damage done? So my upload for today, I'd appreciate being respected and acknowledged.